The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear. And the oldest and strongest kind of fear is the fear of the unknown. H.P. Lovecraft. Honestly, whenever I read this quote, it always makes us think like, how can we overcome this fear? Like, what is this? Because it is one of the things that really motivated me to get rid of my arachnophobia because I live in India and India has a lot of spiders. If you are an arachnophobe and you're in India, it's like your worst nightmare. You will find it in every single corner. If you don't clean a part of your house for a while, there are cobwebs. And if there are cobwebs, it means there's a spider. So things like that, it always makes you like, if you're afraid of something, you'll find ways to like get past that. Or at least, you find a lot of creative solutions to it. And in terms of H.P. Lovecraft, he's one of my absolute favorite writers. He is a pioneer in the genre of horror fiction because he created something that was there in the stories of sailors, that is the giant squid. He turned that into Cthulhu, which is one of which is one of the most it's one of the most it's one of the most immortal images that whenever you think of horror, whenever you think of monsters, whenever you think of the sea, you remember Cthulhu. And anytime there's some sort of weird creature in a horror movie, the first thing that any sort of writer comes up with is Lovecraftian horror. So that always makes sense. And I would say he's a pioneer. H.P. Lovecraft ended up inspiring Stephen King, who inspired me to read more horror books, and honestly, I absolutely love that. With that being said, now let's get into today's poem. What is this feeling? This weight in my chest. It's pulling me down like an anchor. What is this feeling? This indescribable cold. It's shaking me to the bones, unable to get any warmth. What is this feeling? It's like a tunnel. I'm not able to see anything beyond the blurry horizon. What is this feeling? I can't breathe, can't think straight. It's all muddled. What did I do to feel like this? Like a log caught in the edge of a waterfall, teetering to fall any second. Someone help me. I'm falling to the edge with nothing to hold on to. Nothing can save me now. Then, just as fast as it came, it vanishes. Yet, its effects linger like a throbbing wound. It makes you doubt everything, your place in the world, your sanity, and it leaves this impression like a handprint on foggy glass. I know after hearing the poem, you might be thinking that I wrote this about something incredibly dark. For the people who's actually experienced it, they'll know exactly what I'm writing about. I was a teenager when I had my first panic attack after hearing a lot of bad news, and it really shook me. I did not know what it was, and the only way I could express it was that kind of panic, that pure fear. Was just I just wrote something, and later on when I actually edited the poem, and that's when I realized, okay, what I wrote is it's really dark. So I edited it and I added the last two paragraphs because I actually felt like no matter what, there's always a silver lining. And if you can't express that silver lining in something as simple as a poem, you need to find a way to actually express it out. In terms of the situation when I actually wrote this verse, it was my first day of college. I was in Chennai, I was getting ready, and I remember writing two poems that day, but I was not sure which one I wrote and when. Then I realized I wrote this one after I stepped into college because I was really scared. Because as a Gen Z, I was part of the COVID batch. I did my 12th during COVID, and then my college was at the peak of COVID. I mean, the second wave happened when I was studying in college. The second wave in India happened when I was studying in college. So at that time, it was really uncertain for me. Like, because I was really excited. I was like, oh my god, this is college. You're going to go, and it's this new place, new people. It's going to be exciting. At the same time, I was honestly terrified. Like, this is this very new chapter. I'm going to be in a place where I have to learn to actually live by myself. I have to start doing things by myself, and it was really daunting. And it only finally hit me after I attended a class. I attended a class in campus, and that is when it hit me. Oh god, this is too big for me. This happened too fast. And as I was panicking, I wrote this. As I was panicking, I wrote this. And once I wrote it, I didn't know how to react. Because I read it once I calmed down, I read it and I was like, oh god, this is something really it felt like poetry. Because the whole time other time the whole time whenever I was writing a poem, I was describing things that was coming in my head. But this was just something that it was something pure that came out of my heart, and I did not know how to think of it. And but once I processed, once I settled down, it felt great. And it felt like me once I wrote it, and once I completely edited it, once I let it sink in. It was great. It was really great. I absolutely loved it. And that was how this poem came to be. And the more I read it, honestly, the more at that time, the more I read it, the more I wanted to move away from the poem. But then I realized if you keep moving away from it, you're not going to process it. And once you process it and just put it behind you, nothing can stop you. And it felt good. Like that feeling, it felt good. But once I wrote the poem, but this one always does mean a lot to me because this was the first time I was able to express that pure fear that comes with this very new decision. With a lot of people can relate to it actually. Like a lot of people do freak out when you're doing something new, whether it's a new job, whether it's a new school, a new college, or you decide even something as simple as an Instagram caption can end up feeling really daunting to some people. And to me, that was what happened the first time. My first day at college happened that way. And honestly, after a while, once it sank in, once I settled, it felt great. And I'm always proud to say that some of my best friends till now are some of those people I met on that first day. That's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. This is your host, Farha. I'll be back next time with the next episode, the next poem, and how I came up with it. Because honestly, even I don't really know how I write my poems. I just, whatever comes in my head, write it down on a sheet, edit it later, and then it sinks in. Then I wrote this about something that this particular thing, like how I wrote this about this current poem about a really bad experience that it turned out great, and how I wrote the previous one about my brother and a small incident that happened in the flight. So let's see how things go. Okay.